our podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. And we'll talk about your single that's coming out. I had a chance to hear it, and it's amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I did read you're from Staten Island originally.
Yeah, I'm from Staten Island. I'm actually here right now.
So during this
yeah,
quarantine.
born and raised. Oh yeah.
Oh, born and raised there.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that like?
It was on. It was. Listen, Staten Island has a rep. I know about it. I loved it. I mean, I wound up going to high school in Manhattan, and obviously Staten Island is just like the notorious forgotten borough, and like everyone,
Wu-Tang's from there at least.
Exactly. So like everyone can be quiet. But yeah, and it was the best escape kind of from the hustle and bustle of the city. You know, I would be I loved Manhattan. I love Manhattan, obviously, and then but it was kind of nice to just like take the ferry ride to a little bit of a calmer scene, and there's just so many parks and it's a lot more green, so you kind of get the best of both worlds, you know, in the city. And it's like you're so close to everything, but you kind of have this like suburb little moment.
Sure.
So it's cool.
That's amazing. Why were you going to school in Manhattan? Was that for high school?
Yeah, so it was actually there's an arts high school called LaGuardia.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know
Fiorello H. LaGuardia, and in Uptown, and I obviously I'm like, you can go to high school for music. So
yeah.
A couple of my friends that were a bit older, I knew a few of them that went there, and it was just it just seemed like such an incredible experience. So I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
So yeah, it was such an incredible experience, and I auditioned, and then obviously just wound up going there, and it was such a crazy 4 years of just being in a completely different borough than my parents, you know?
Sure.
Stuff I got into. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that point. How did you get into music originally?
So, my first instrument was drums.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I was 6 and just like begged my mom to take drum lessons. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool. Didn't last too long. I kind of, found my heart in writing and singing shortly after, but I started off with drums, took lessons, did a couple years, was just like super into all the classic rock stuff. Like I think the first song I ever played on stage was like Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd on drums, just like with my brother on this like
I love that song.
Yes. So that is really how I got started. I mean, my family, they're not too into music. My dad always wrote songs too in his free time, and would always have a guitar. Yeah, he would always have a guitar out, and we would always just, I'd be singing, that's where my love of classic rock, I guess, came from a young age, and why I started playing all those kind of songs. But yeah. Like,
well, you said you played with your brother the Pink Floyd cover. Yeah. Is he a musician too?
He no, not anymore. He's actually like super into golf. He's started his own business, and he's like a golf instructor. So he's more in like sports world. Sure. But when we were younger, we both started lessons at the same time. I just stuck with it, He found, how like you usually just get thrown into music lessons when you're younger. But
sure.
So we started the first couple years of lessons together, and then they would have these recitals. This place that I went to would have all the recitals, and we would just always do it together because we were, brother and sister. And
that's cool.
Yeah.
That was you said the first time you had ever played like on a stage was that drum cover?
Yeah, it was the drum cover. Which was, just so I still have videos from it, and I watch it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so crazy to like.
Can you still play drums? I'm sure you can, right?
Play. I use like that word
loosely.
Very loosely. Yeah. I can keep a beat. I could,
sure.
But recently it's been so, it's probably just quarantine. Like, who am I kidding? But I have been so inspired to just like take lessons again or something, or just practice drums for a bit. Cause like, I don't know, why not? It's just so dope,
Yeah.
I'm like, Julia, you should have stuck with that. You would have been so much cooler.
Nah, no. Your voice is too good.
Thank you.
Yeah, my son, I have a 5-year-old or 4. He's going to be 5 here soon. He and an older son too, but the 5-year-old or 4 turning 5-year-old, we bought him a drum kit during quarantine, but it was in the electric one, so he's not as obnoxious to the neighbors.
Say, I was like, are you guys just loving all of this nice background music?
Oh yeah, he just whacks around on him, and once we're gonna try to get him lessons here soon enough, but he's interested enough into it, I think. So I'm just gonna push him that way.
That is so cool. I mean, yeah, I have a young member of my family he's around the same. Oh no, he's actually 1 or 2, and
oh
this
my gosh,
kid, he exclusively listens to like classic rock. We walk in and he's like knowing every word to this Kiss song, or not every word, obviously. He's like 1 or 2.
Still, that's awesome.
Like, what song is it? Oh, it's Twisted Sister. We're Not Gonna Take It.
Oh, sure.
And there's this in the music video. There's like this beginning scene of this dad yelling at his son or whatever, and this 1.5-year-old is just like pretending to yell. Like he knows the whole thing mapped out.
Monologue in the beginning.
Yes. So like when young kids like show an interest in music, it's just so sick. So.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad he's going that route, because
that is
I don't want to force him, but it's like I really want him to.
Of course,
the fine line
drummer.
there.
Exactly.
Well, so when did you start singing? When did you go from the drum kit to singing?
So I was about 8. I mean, when I decided to do my own little thing, I mean, I don't know how much of a thing it was when I was 8, but I actually started singing my drum teacher these like a cappella concerts of these songs I would write. And it was so weird for everyone involved, I guess just us two. But so then I was like, we were both like, okay, maybe you should try piano lessons or something else. And then obviously the more I got into writing, lyrics, I wanted a melodic instrument to learn. I couldn't like, sing and play drums. I could. That would have been cool too.
Yeah.
But, so then I started taking piano lessons when I was 8, and my teacher, shout out to Lane Thompson, this guy, it changed my life. He took me under his wing when I was 8, and he was also a songwriter. He is, and so from 8 years old, I just was writing all these songs. I actually have this amazing catalog because this guy just it's so crazy to think about now, just like, because he was just so kind, I guess, took me to one of his friends' places who had a studio in their basement and just never charged my family a penny, just recorded all of these songs when I was younger. So now I have this catalog of like 8-year-old Julia, like singing her songs.
That's amazing. You ever think about releasing it?
I definitely have to do something with them because they are so ridiculous, but it's just like, it's so cool. I mean,
that's cool that you're writing that young. I mean, 8 years old, writing out lyrics and melodies and everything.
It's just so funny. I mean, yeah, like literally it's just been the thing I've done forever. And it's like, I always compare it because it sounds so crazy. And you're like, I was 8 writing songs, but some kids are into like soccer, some kids are into karate. And I was just super always into just being an emotional ass kid who just
that's
like
so rad.
Lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so
cool. Yeah. And then, what took you said you had to do an audition, obviously, for the high school you went to. What was that process like?
It was really crazy. I mean, I still do, to be honest with you, but I have had really hard, like, confidence issues and just, I mean, I always loved writing, and I'm also from Staten Island. It's not really like a musical play. It just like, I just felt kind of like a fish out of water between myself. And so, it was one of the first moments in my life that gave me a nice little boost of healthy confidence to
some validation there.
Yeah. And, sometimes you need it. I mean, like, artists, it's just like a lot of us are just sensitive and sometimes need stuff like that. I can't help it. Yeah. But it was, it was really cool. I mean, the school itself is a class. It really focuses on classical training and classical music. It's kind of like a mock high school conservatory.
Sure.
So it was, it really, that high school did more for me, I think, just in terms of really crafting the writer I am and just the the music taste that I'm into, because you had these, again, like like brilliant classical musicians, and then people that were just super genius at like all this jazz harmony and stuff. So I mean, I Taylor Swift was like my icon like
She's
growing
still
up.
mine. I love
I
her.
I will never say one ill word about that woman.
Me either.
She's my literal hero when it comes to just,
The
you know.
her two most recent records, like are her best. Like, and it's hard to like ever say that with about a band. Like usually it's like
Exactly.
the first two albums
I
were the
love their
best.
old
It's
stuff.
like, I mean, don't get me wrong, all her records are amazing, but
Yeah.
these new ones are like my
A
mind
different level.
blew when I heard the like even when the first notes of Folklore, I was like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
like, and then she put out the next one, and then I was like,
Oh my God. Exactly. Like she, if that new stuff that she's released just really reminds me of this like Joni Mitchell, like almost like she's
Mhm.
just creating her new art form that's just not existing today. Like
Yeah,
I just haven't heard. It's insane, and
she went,
it's
yeah, from country artist to like huge pop star to, you know, now she's in
just
this like
her.
indie world of like, but it's still popping. It's yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, she's
it's
amazing.
incredible. She's insane. So yeah, I was like super into. I mean, again, like her albums. I'm trying to think of which ones like changed my younger life. Like, probably, like Speak Now or Fearless. Like those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like the
Woo!
first
Love
three
those. So
or
I was
yeah.
exactly every concert I could. Oh man. So I was really into that music, but then it was once I went to high school and I was surrounded by all these like just like brilliant people, and
Mhm.
I really fell in love with just, you know, writing more on the piano side and having that tell its own separate story. And it was it was just such a cool place to really come into myself as an artist and stuff, you know.
And were you performing like your own songs out at all? Like were you doing open mic nights or dive
Yeah.
bars or
Um, yeah, absolutely. I started, well, again, I was kind of just performing growing up throughout, you know. I
uh-huh.
mean, music schools, like they really do offer really cool opportunities for younger kids to just perform on stage. And then I think
Yeah.
when I was about 13, kind of straying away, 12 or 13, I started doing 13. I was doing open mic nights at there's a place in New York City called the Bitter End. I don't know if you ever
Mhm.
heard of
I've
it.
heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like this awesome dive bar that you have people from Lady Gaga to just people that are just starting, you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And it's this amazing place for artists just like everywhere to do what they do. So I started there when I was 13 doing the Monday night like singer-songwriter
That's
stuff, and
cool.
right, it was so cool, and it was just, you know, looking back on it, it was just like a really cool way to grow up. And I wound up doing that all through high school. You know, I got a band and all that stuff, and I was getting everywhere. I did a few gigs with just like jazz. I was super into singing for like jazz trios and stuff.
Hmm.
I have a super soft spot in my heart for that. So it was yeah, lots of performing growing up. It was so cool.
And then okay, so then how did obviously you were on American Idol and you did very well
Yeah.
on American Idol. So how does that kind of tie into what you're doing? Like, did you hear about the audition and did you go stand in line for, you know, 6
It's
days and all that?
it's actually okay. So this story just never. I always get like, I always just laugh when I tell this because it's just crazy. I still can't believe I even did something like that. Like
Mhm.
best decision of my life, clearly just life
Sure.
changing. But um, so what happened was, again, going back to the confidence thing, I've always just never really believed that I was just one to do anything like that in general.
Hmm.
Just taking, I had a really big fear of the word no, and I was like, I'm not going to go on TV, and like, what
Yeah,
if they
get
say no? Like,
shut
you have to
down.
have
Yeah.
no. So I actually worked at a place on Staten Island too called East T Studio Productions, and I was just an intern, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I was just working at
Sure.
the desk, doing stuff like that. And then the woman, Laura, who worked above me, you know, she just ran the whole place with her husband. And she was getting a bunch of names together for this American Idol audition. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I hadn't really had nothing to do with it, wasn't really interested. And again, just going off of how I was as a human at that
Hmm.
time. And then a couple days later, she was just like, and by the way, I put your name in this email and sent all your music. So it was for like a producer round, you know, like there's some you can wait online, but then there's like a music industry one.
Where they can kind of, if they think you're good enough, they want to like let you audition anyway. Sure.
Yeah. It was just crazy. So she was like, it's tomorrow or Tuesday. Like, do you want to do it? And I was like, do I want to do it? I was like, because I just wasn't expecting one to be put into that pool of names, but two to be like the producer
chosen.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap. So, you know, I kind of talked myself up. I'm like, Julia, like you do this a lot. You always just say no to things. Like it's not going to be on camera. You're just going to these producers. You won't tell anybody. And I decided to do it. Me and my mom went. Like I didn't tell a soul, like nobody. And then yeah, I went in there. I sang a couple songs. I sang like Sound Growing Pains that I wound up auditioning with. And it just went super well. It was just so crazy. It just went super well. And it just didn't stop going from there. And
so once you, so once you know, performed your own original song, which is already a bold move, right? I mean, instead of going in and be like, I'm going to sing this hit that everybody knows, you're like, I'm going to sing a song that nobody knows.
I didn't know what else to do. I just like didn't know what else to do again. Cause like, that is just, I've never been, well, my next thing is really, I'd never looked at myself as a singer or like an artist. I mean, again, I love to sing and but my main thing that I ever showcased when I performed is my songs. Like I was always performing to showcase my music,
right.
Not really my voice. You know what I mean? It's just, and I love to sing, but I don't know. I just wasn't as confident at that part. So it was so I was like, okay, I just like have to go and sing an original because like what else am I gonna do? Like,
right.
Obviously, if you watch the show, like there are some vocal acrobats.
Oh, sure.
Woo, the talent is just insane. So I was like, you know what? I think you should just do your own song. And there was people even telling me the day of that, like, you know what? Like maybe you should do "Call Your Girlfriend" by Robin or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I would so regret it if I didn't just do my own song. So
look how that panned out for you. I mean, that was like, yeah, wow. Crazy. And then so you had to do it in front of the producers, and then you passed or whatever. So then you got to audition in front of the judges. Yeah. Is that kind of what happened? And what was the difference in like, you know, nerve levels when you're in front of Katy Perry and like, you know, these people?
Yeah. I mean, well, so for the producers, obviously, again, I was so there was people in that waiting room for the first audition, the producer round, that were like, again, I was just sitting there. I was like, oh my God, that just sounds like Ariana Grande. Like, oh my God, that's like ridiculous. What do I do? Ma, it's not too late. We live right over the bridge.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
So that one, it was definitely a good setup for the, like leaving the producer round. I felt like, wow, this is really, I wasn't expecting that response for those producers. Like maybe this could go well. So like, but then once you get to the actual, once you get to, I was in DC.
Front of them.
Well, so the main thing was I got there at like 6:45 a.m. or whatever the call time was. And I didn't go in front of them until like 9:30 at night.
At night? I was going to say, you had to sit there for 3 hours. No, you had to sit there for like 15 hours.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I was, and it's not, no, it was like a full, it was the, in the best way, in the most not complaining way, the longest day of my life, because I was just sitting there with my brain, like watching people walk in with no ticket, watching people walk in with tickets, celebrating cameras. And I was like, oh my God.
Because you're just in the room of people, right? And you're just waiting there because they show the people like sitting and kind of standing around. So that's where you were.
Exactly. So I literally was left with 3 people in the room. Like it went from, and that gave me so much time to like freak the hell out, being calm and confident, freak out. So by the time it was 9:30, I was just like, really rode the wave of my emotions already.
Right. You're ready to just do it.
I don't know. And something in me, and I always just like, this is when I believe in just like almost let go, let God, or whatever you believe in. It's just like, I almost just got calm. I didn't get calm, but I was like, okay, like you're just going to go in there and you're just gonna sing the song that you sang for years, you know, like it's your song and you're just gonna do it. And obviously, like, I think when you're in front of and I could say I don't get starstruck, but I think it's just that I physically can't believe the situation that I'm in. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's kind of hard to really geek out that Katy Perry's like in front of you because you're like, there's no way that like I'm just singing in front of Katy Perry. It's just like a really weird fever dream experience. So I got some calmness from it. Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
Did you see like I mean I would imagine like once you're seeing a handful of people come out with the ticket and some people not, like are you thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, is there going to be enough tickets like by the time I get to it's my turn, like there's only 2 people behind me?
I know. Well, that's exactly. You put the words in my mouth. It's like overthinking that, like you can't help but just overthink. Like there is a number they accept and there's a number they don't.
Exactly.
Like, I hate being last.
Yeah, you're like, are all the slots full? And they're just going through the motions with the next few people. Like
exactly. It was, and I said there was like again, like there was an hour where like 10 people got tickets and I was like, oh, this is the hour where they put all the good people.
Right.
And like, oh my gosh. And again, I was just I think I have such respect for people that, you know, that just don't care about getting said no to. And I was really in the process of learning that. I still hold the whole show. I was really like getting so comfortable with all like taking risks and this and that, but I just saw people just like go for their third time or something like that. I'm like, wow, like that is what it takes, you know, like and here I am just like sweating for 15 hours. It was in that's a day that changed my life forever, not only because I got obviously accepted onto the show, but that was the first time I really think I had done anything like that, in the sense of being absolutely terrified that I was going to embarrass myself and just doing it. I was yeah, I really struggled before the show, and it's been a crazy journey personally as well.
What about like on that note of like not being like, you know, not accepting not accepting it, but like not wanting to hear it?
Yeah, almost like having it damper your confidence even more, kind of thing.
But you can have like your phone, right? Like throughout the whole season. So are you like looking at like Twitter and like or did you kind of stay away from that? Because I can imagine that would be hard to like not want to hear what other people are saying about what you're doing, but also like would that like crush your ego enough to where you're like, oh, I don't even want to go out and sing now because everybody's trashing me online, or there's 10 people saying bad things?
Of course. I mean, that's why that day also just means so much to me, because it really did help. Like that day was in my memory and I knew that like I could do this and that's all I really needed. That stuff didn't bother me as much, but that's another reason the show is such a blessing to me, because it really allowed me to go through this process and build up this thick skin that you just really need in this business, because you are your business, you know, and when people pick at stuff, they're like picking at your work. It's like very personal. So I'm also grateful for that, because you would read the most ridiculous stuff, and what you wind up doing is kind of, obviously you can take it to heart, you know, and there's some days where you know you didn't do well, like, oh my god, there's one round I just didn't do too hot, and that's when I really don't want to look. But if you're just like, sometimes you just laugh, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, wow, like this person, we don't even know each other, and like it's amazing you to see like the keyboard warriors and all that stuff that like rip into you. So honestly, I think it's important. It was important for me to remember, and important for anyone else who's going through a similar situation where it's like it's so rude to just like rip into somebody, like, you know what I mean?
Like,
so it's almost like, yeah. And again, but you know what though? Like I sometimes, you know, there was feedback and constructive criticism that I always just like take and process. But I think this whole experience was really good at like desensitizing me from like all the, you know, the BS that can really easily get to someone.
Right.
Yeah. My mom always says only care about what people say if like you care about them, you know what I mean? Or like only let it like not care about, but you know, like don't let it like really hurt you unless you really care about the person. which I always like to live by. You know.
Yeah, that is some great advice, and I love that you said the Keyboard Warriors. I've never heard that, but that's a great band name.
Keyboard Warriors. I know, it's just the people that like love to just let loose after a long day on the internet. Like sometimes, like again, I don't respond to them or really let them bother me, but sometimes I be like, yo, you just need a vacation. Like, I just want to be like, do you just need to relax? Like, and in the most loving way possible. Like, we just need a day.
Man, that's funny. The Keyboard Warriors. Well, okay, so you make to the top 10, right? In the show.
Yeah.
Okay, and then after the fact, you still get signed to 19 recordings. Isn't that Simon's label?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, he usually chooses what, like the top winner, right? Doesn't he get the choice of, Carrie Underwood or Kelly Clarkson or whoever won the show? And then to choose, that must have been crazy huge.
It's sick. I mean, the model has kind of changed. Like the winner, the winner, gets with Hollywood Records, and there's this like, kind of bigger thing in place. But it's cool now that what 19 does is kind of just pick people that they believe in, and kind of just artist development, start their career in like a different way. But I mean, it's been so beneficial to me, because again, like I was just kind of confused about my sound as an artist, and really working through that. This has been the most constructive year of my life. Obviously, it's just crazy, but yeah, it was sick. Like by the time my journey ended at top 7, and
which is crazy in itself.
It was but it's just so like by that time, and also we were home, so imagine just like getting kicked off and like being able to just like lay in your bed and hug your mom. You know what I mean? It was like such a dope setup that way. It's not like it's like hard. It's really hard to like get super emotional or like, cause you're just like, oh, I'm home. Like it's not. It was.
Oh, cause it was virtual, right?
It was virtual, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, but to go back to your original question, yeah, it was such an honor to be, picked and believed in like that, and to do this for a living now is just a reality that's so crazy to me, to be like a working musician that just like gets paid to do what I love. So
yeah, wow. And then you have your like debut single that's coming out. Tell me about this. I got a chance to hear it early, and I love it. It's beautiful. The piano is amazing. Like, tell me about this song.
Thank you. So You Don't Get To, I actually wrote with 2 other writers, Rosanna Brown and Liam Geddes, and I was trying to pick a single, and that process is also just like really intense almost, because it's like your first foot like into the world,
and you had been writing for so long too. It's like, how do you choose from your catalog of songs?
And also it's weird because I've never written, and it's hard because this is something I still kind of struggle with, but like I used to write like 5-minute and 30-second songs that were just like super artists. Yeah, I'm like super like free form. And again, this is where all like my LaGuardia days kind of kicked in. But I just never really wrote for public consumption in a way that it is now, like shorter songs, and there's this formula and like really catchy parts. And so it was like the best, like, I think it takes a genius to write like a pop hit. Like, you know what I mean? It's a skill that, you can, I don't know, there's a lot of people that like to talk down on pop music.
Right.
And I'm like, try to write me.
Exactly. Like, the people that are like, oh, I could write a 3-minute pop song. That's so easy. And it's like, okay, like,
no,
do it.
You can't. I know.
Do it. If it's so easy.
Oh my God, that makes me roll my eyes. But so the process was really, really cool, because I'm just starting to like mend all these worlds in together, like I want as many people as I possibly can to be interested in what I have to say, and I want to make it universal while still really being true to me and like my music morals and stuff. So You Don't Get To was just it was kind of, I just wanted to write a ballad, and I just recently worked on I was an artist on Francisco Martin, who was also on American Idol this past season. He released a song called Swollen, and I was in I sang it with him for a version. And it was like a really cool ballad, so I kind of wanted to jump off that and do something a little similar to Growing Pains, which is what I auditioned with, the
Yeah,
piano
sure.
ballad.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to stick to that, and it was just like a really cool ode to my personal growth as well, because I wrote the song about a terribly toxic relationship I was in all throughout college, and it was just the cycle of him breaking up with me, never giving me the space to heal, and then wanting me back, and I was like such an idiot and like would always go back and stuff. So You Don't Get To is just like, even though it's a few years later, it was a
Mm-hmm.
really cool way to be like, well, you couldn't even hurt me again, like if you tried, brother. You know
Sure.
what I mean? So, and it's like a and I just like, so I kind of just like harnessed those feelings that I had, and uh just really wanted to put a vulnerable song out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I love it. It's such an amazing song.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. With the co-writes, was that done like this virtually, or like how is the writing
Yeah,
sessions happening?
it's crazy. So I had never co-written like in my life.
Oh, that was
And
your first experience with a co-write too.
well, this year.
Oh, this year, okay.
So yeah, this year was the first time I had ever co-written, like after Idol. I and it's the best thing ever. I mean, I almost feel like, and I love writing, I always write by myself too, but I find it so much more beneficial to just get another person's especially songwriter's opinion
Mm-hmm.
and input and bounce ideas back. So I mean, I think it's so worth it just to like, bring someone else in and make the song as best as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, it was just such a game changer experience, because I mean, it's just only getting more fun. And but like what you were saying was, it's just all been over Zoom. Like I haven't done one in person yet, obviously, just like, and it's just crazy because the people I wrote these songs with are, one's in England, one's in Ireland, and
Wow.
here we are just like writing a tune from like three different freaking time zones.
Right, three different countries. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it's insane.
Wow. Okay. Well, were you, since this lockdown happened? Where were you like when that all happened? It was on Idol, right? When that all shut down.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was in Los Angeles, and we were about to film the live shows. It's top 20 we were about to film, and that's when
Yeah,
you're in the
go to the
studio.
stage or whatever.
Yeah, and we were all there for like a week, and it was so cool. Like we were all in these little amazing little apartments together, and then we all got called into this room, and one of the supervisors was like, "You all are leaving tomorrow." We were all crushed.
Oh.
Yeah, they were like, "You guys are going home," and then it was in March, and then we just did the rest of the show from home,
Mhm.
and that was another learning freaking experience in itself, because
Mhm.
we were doing the set designing, like we build all the sets, like for example, they really like how the way my bedroom looked and how all that
Mhm.
was set up. So we wound up having like to take the bed out of my bedroom and all the
Did
furniture and
they
like
send somebody to like help you do that, or like, or engineer
no.
it, or like how did that all work?
So no, but the way but the
No,
way
they
they
did
did
not.
it, but they were like really incredible when it came to helping. Like they would have someone on Zoom, and we would like put them behind the camera, and like they would be like, turn it this way. They
Mhm.
did it all through technology, so all the help was through technology. And it was crazy. It was crazy. This house was like a friggin' circus. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
With like your like equipment and stuff, like your mic, like did they send stuff, or were they like, good luck trying to figure out
No,
how to make this
no,
sound good?
that would have been that would have been mortifying. That would have
Yeah,
been
that's what I'm
horrible.
thinking.
No, they sent us all the equipment,
Oh,
and
that's
anything
nice.
we yeah, and anything we needed. We were just like became the crew, which was dope, putting all that stuff together. At one point there was when I was setting up the encoder, which is like literally, like the box that connected the monitor so we can see all the judges like judging us,
Oh,
and then
wow. Okay.
yeah, and you like, plug your microphone, and it really controlled everything. So when we were setting that up, my kitchen, because there was just so many wires and things all over the place, literally looked like we were building a spaceship. It was wacky. Oh my lord.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
think about that. Like that you did this all from home at that point. Oh
Yeah.
my
All
gosh.
from
Yeah.
home. Oh my gosh.
Well, since then, and since the new song is out, have you been writing like pretty much since quarantine happened? Like, are you continuing with that, or like obviously you're probably took a pause during Idol when you're doing the show, but
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because like I feel like my version of pausing like writing is just like not I'm constantly writing out these like one-liners in my phone. My notes section on my iPhone is the most hectic, ridiculous looking thing. But yeah, I guess during Idol my mind was like, but I was still writing. I don't know, I just can't turn it off. And like
Mhm.
afterwards we really pretty much jumped right into writing sessions. They kind of had me in there right away. And that, so for a while I was writing, you know, and I was in like almost maybe, you know, one to three sessions a day, which was,
Whoa.
yeah, I'm not even kidding. It was because you know I would get excited and I would book one and then there would already be two. So I would just
Mhm.
like, it was insane for a bit in the best way. And I mean, that experience was also just so crazy because I was really trying to shape my sound, and that's something I always produce my own stuff with live band, and you know,
Oh
but
wow.
now, yeah, which was like sick, but then you really know, you figure out how little you know, or like how not
Oh.
good you actually are
When you're
when
working with somebody that's produced like these huge albums.
yeah, and also just I I just can't like I'm trying to learn now all the MIDI stuff, and
Oh,
it's like what people can do with it is insane. And I like, so I've been kind of figuring out that side of things and what that sound is like, and it's been such a crazy cool experience. And I'm gonna start booking my writing sessions up a lot more again, because sometimes it's good to take a little break. So I'm like, all right, I'm about to like be on the street corner panhandling for song ideas because I'm out. Song idea, anybody? Tell me
yeah.
about your life, please.
Right. Yeah, just
Yeah.
running out of material. The walls aren't telling you anything new anymore.
Exactly. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because, like, when you're like, and it's quarantine, man. I mean, for everyone, but
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's just like, there's not much to, you know, write about. Your life just kind of, it's like hard for things to change because everyone's just stuck. Goodness
Sure.
gracious.
I know. It's so
Yeah.
bizarre too. Like you were saying that you're writing with people like we're in Scotland, you said, or Ireland when you for the new
Ireland and
song?
England. Yeah.
Ireland or
Yeah.
England, yeah. So it's like these people are also quarantined and they're in a different part, part of the world. Like I interview people from all over the world too, and it's like you're in, Australia and you're in your house too. Like it's just so bizarre to me.
It's
Like
so, no,
everybody's in their house.
it's so true. Just kind of like stuck in there. And it's really, I mean, it's exciting though, because people were telling me, and again, I'm new to this world. So people were like, no, like we've just never done Zoom sessions before. And I'm like, that
Hmm.
is crazy though, because you can just hop on the phone and just like, you know, do the thing with people that are a
In
2 day
different,
trip
yeah.
away. Yeah.
Sure,
And I
instead
work
of like spending all this money to go fly out there and but I'm sure
exactly.
there's a different experience with that.
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, I have like the only in-person write I did was with just with a friend, you know, who's local.
Mhm.
And it's a little more controlled, you know, you can like follow all the COVID precautions and stuff. But
Yeah, of
and I
course.
was like putting it out there.
Yeah.
So
We were safe.
I was like, we were
I
very
promise.
safe. And it's I just cannot, that got me so excited. It's like you can just like feel each other's vibes a little bit more, you
Mhm.
know, like, and it was so exciting. You know, it's gonna be sick. I'm so
Yeah,
excited for that day.
that's
But it's always
amazing.
yeah, and it's like since we've never done it before, the first one's gonna be, I'm like over romanticizing it
Yeah.
so hard because that's just what I do. But I'm like, it's gonna be
Yes.
magical. There's gonna be glitter everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Uh, well,
Oh, it's
so the single's coming out on the 19th, and what about like? I'm sure you have a bunch of songs. Like, are you guys having an EP come together? Or are you kind of trying to figure out this weird world of releasing music?
no, I mean, my it's so easy to get wrapped up in like so many things, and right now it's just about creating and coming up
Hmm.
with a cool catalog that represents me. And it's really been a really cool past couple of weeks because it's all starting to come together. We already have single 2 lined up.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, and I feel like each finished song just so much more concretely is like in the direction of the artist, like the sound that I'm going for. And it's so rewarding, because you think you're never going to get there. You can get so frustrated. I'm like, oh, well, now, I have these like 3 songs lined up that I'm super proud of. And then the hard part is just like waiting to put them out.
Right. Now you're just like sitting on them.
Still like, oh, dang it. I have to wait 3 months or 2 months.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then you just like want to stay excited about, I have to stay excited about You Don't Get To, because that's coming out on Friday or the 19th. But it's a good sign that I'm like equally as excited about my next project. So
that is a good sign. That's really
right.
Cool.
I mean,
yeah, you're like, oh, this next one.
It's better than being like,
I can't wait to get that next one out so I can put out the one after.
Exactly. I can't wait to get that one over
with. Well, crazy. Julia, thank you so much for chatting with me today. This has been amazing. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this was so much fun. You guys rock. So thank you.
Thank you. I do have one more question before I let you go, though. Yes. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, I do. I have 2 golden rules that I live by. Okay. One is that the more you are yourself, the less competition you have. And it's really easy in this business to try to compare yourself to other people, what's selling, what looks good, and you can really easily get wrapped up in that world. So the more you are yourself, the less competition you have, a good rule to follow. And then the other one is, of course, don't be scared to hear the word no. Don't live in fear of opportunities that you can, fail at. That is something that I really learned in a beautiful way. I mean, and it taught me a really big lesson. So from somebody that worried really intensely about opportunities that could go in the direction I wasn't hoping, it can go the right way. So, just take chances, put yourself out there, even when it's hard, because it could pay off.